Welcome to another episode, actually episode 96 of Real Estate, Real Life, Real Talk, and Real Live with your host, Damon the Agent. I want to thank you all. Today is Friday, March the 22nd, 2024. And as always, you all know I like to start my show by talking about the latest real estate topic and trend. So if you'll see me turn this way, that's mean I'm talking to my people at my TikTok audience. So as always, please also follow me on all social media platforms, which is / Damon the Agent. That's on all social media platforms. Let me begin with my real estate topic. Today's real estate topic is time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. And I really want to elaborate on this because some people have the belief that after your contract gets accepted, that you may have a certain amount of time and you can withdraw your offer. I recently spoke with someone who believed that they had 48 hours after their offer was accepted to withdraw their offer, and that is not the case. And let me elaborate about that. Once a seller and a buyer agrees on terms of any offer, that is called ratification. That means the accepted terms have been accepted by the seller. So you are now ratified. Once the contract has been ratified, time is of the essence. And that means everything, the clock is ticking. On a contract, there are always dates. Now, don't get me wrong. You have some people who send over contracts and they may say 30 days from ratification or any of that, but it's always dated for a reason. Now, there are certain timelines that you have once a contract has been accepted. You have an allocated amount of time to do your home inspection. You have an allocated amount of time to get your appraisal done. You have an allocated amount of time to get finances, meaning some people get pre-approved for a loan, but they're not fully qualified for the loan. So you have an allocated amount of time for that. You have a allocated amount of time to, make the deposit of your EMD, which is your earnest money deposit. And you have an allocated amount of time in which when you are to go to settlement. And that is the date that's put on the contract. And that date, once, whatever date you have on a contract for a settlement, you understand, everything happens prior to the settlement. So you really have to keep in mind that time is of the essence. Like I said, I spoke to someone who made an offer on something and their offer got accepted like 4 or 5 days later. And then not the day that they got accepted, but the next day, they were like, well, they had an unfortunate incident where they wanted to withdraw their offer. So when they withdrew their offer, they said they had 48 hours. They had 48 hours to do so. And no, you don't. Once your offer has been accepted, time is of the essence right then and there. So just to let you know that, that time is of the essence whenever you make an offer. And then once your offer has been accepted, whenever the settlement day, you have a certain amount of time to submit your earnest money deposit, to do your home inspection, to get the appraisal done, and then also to make sure that you do everything in that allocated amount of time to go to settlement. So please keep that in mind for those who are making offers out there, because don't assume when you make an offer, you could just withdraw your offer. Because here's the thing. When I mentioned you have a certain amount of time to do your earnest money deposit, if you don't do things in a certain amount of time, most sellers are coming after that earnest money deposit. That's why it's really heavy and crucial when making offers. A lot of times, depending on how much earnest money deposit that you make, will determine whether or not that the seller will accept your offer. And the reason why that determines whether or not the seller will accept your offer is because some sellers want that cushion. So they say, okay, well, if this person withdraw their offer, then they have put down this amount of deposit. So they will and can come after in some cases if you do not follow the terms of the contract. But in most contracts, especially in the DMV, on the contract, it clearly says time is of the essence. And it says that for a very, very good reason. So please keep that in mind for those who are making offers on properties. Time is of the essence. And let me be right back. All right. My next segment is my Q&A, my question and answer. If you have any real estate questions, please feel free to post them and I will answer them as quickly as possible. So right now, the real estate questions that I have there are a few. Do foreclosure properties sell as is? Do foreclosure properties sell as is? And that's a very good question. The answer is yes. Most foreclosed properties are sold as is because most mortgage companies who take ownership of foreclosed properties, they can't warrant the condition of any properties. They don't know. Like you have banks in Texas, banks in New York, and let's say you got a bank in Texas and the home is in Virginia. They don't know the condition of the properties. Therefore, they don't warrant the condition of those properties. That's why most foreclosed properties are priced slightly less than the average sale price because they know that there are work that needs to be done. But yes, all foreclosed properties are sold as is. The next question is, what loans can be used to purchase foreclosed properties? What loans can be used to purchase foreclosed properties? That's a very good question. Conventional loans are the most popular when it pertains to loans when you're doing a foreclosed property, and you can also use a FHA 203K loan, which is a renovation loan. So those two loans are the most popular ones that are used. You can't use a VA loan because the VA loan has to pass an inspection. With the case when it pertains to jumbo loans, and the reason why I say jumbo loans is because you do have some foreclosures that are priced over 800,000. I mean, the guideline is really 765 or 725. I can't even recall right now for a jumbo loan. But in many cases and everything, the conventional loan is the most popular one that is used. And you can also use a FHA 203K loan. You can't use a regular FHA loan because the appraisal is going to come back with so many conditions because of the condition of the foreclosed property. So, and remember with FHA, the home has to be deemed livable based off the guidelines. So in many cases, foreclosed properties, like I said, they're damaged. Some cases they don't have water on, the electricity is off. So, and those are not deemed livable under FHA guidelines. So conventional loans, FHA 203K loans are the ones that you can use to purchase foreclosed property, unless you have cash or you go the hard money loan route. Those are other options too. Of course, cash is supreme. Cash can buy anything, but then you also have the hard money loan lenders who will also loan you money when it pertains to purchasing a foreclosed property. Another question is, are there any programs for foreclosed properties? Are there any programs for foreclosed properties? Now, that is a great question. Are there any programs for foreclosed properties? They're not typical, the regular programs that are in place for foreclosed properties. You have some investment groups, and then you have, like I mentioned, when it pertains to the FHA 203K loan, in which FHA sometimes give, depending on certain areas where you purchase property, they may give certain grants, but you always have to check that out because it's always based on local and jurisdictions. So real estate, like I always mention, is always location, 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 but also with location, 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 there's also the guidelines and also what is offered in that particular area. So are there programs for foreclosed properties? Not really, but you will always have to check with the local lenders in order to find out. But no, not really. They're not really programs designated for foreclosed properties. All right. And I shall be right back. And if you'll notice, I'm doing a little quicker today because I'm going to try to start making my podcast a little shorter, like roughly 15, 20 minutes max is that's my goal when it pertains to doing the podcast. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back with the topic of the day. All right, my topic of the day, and a topic of the day is weak men. Last week I talked about sexual predators, and unfortunately, within the last week, There have been several people who have, and I'm saying women, who have been attacked by men because they have not been, because um, the men have given advances and they have been rejected by the women. So there was a case in New York where there were two twins, and both of the twins were stabbed because the guy was trying to talk to them, and they were relatively young. And then one of them passed away. Also in this area in D.C., Maryland, Virginia, I heard about the case over in Suitland where a man was trying to talk to a woman and she rejected him, and unfortunately she lost her life too. And I always want to say that, when it pertains to people, you can never judge a book by its cover, only by the actions it take. But unfortunately, when you look at people, you can never tell what's going on with any individuals. Ladies, I will always strongly suggest that if any guy's trying to talk to you, just give them your number, and then the next day, just block them, because you don't know how people are behaving out here. You don't know what's going on with people's mind, if they're on drugs, if they need medication, they're not on medication because they haven't been diagnosed. You don't know what's going on in the world today with so many people. And because there are so many weak men, and I say that because a lot of men, unfortunately, haven't been haven't been given the proper guidance on how to deal with their feelings, how to deal with rejection. That's why a lot of men result to anger and angry about everything because things don't go their way. And I say that to say that it's unfortunate because there are more weak men than you realize. You can't look at a person and tell if they weak or not. Don't assume because somebody's big like Paul Bunyan and Andre the Giant that they're a real man, because you can't. And you can't assume that a person look like a geek or a nerd or might be short or small that they're not a real man, because you can't judge it. The truth might hold opposite for both. You might see a person who's like Andre the Giant, Paul Bunyan, and they may be soft on the inside. And you might see a person who's short or weak, short or slim, and they may be tough on the inside. And I say that to say that, ladies, please be cautious out here when you're encountering the world, when you're dealing with people, because unfortunately, there are a lot of weak men. I've run into them myself, holding conversations, and I ain't gonna tell them they weak, but you can just tell sometimes when you speak to people who they are and the stance they are. And again, a lot of times, that old saying holds true. When a person, especially with a man to man, when a man can't look you in your eye, then something's going on. And I say that to say that there's so many, like I said last week, there's so many people who are sexual predators, but at the same time, there's so many people who are just weak individuals. And that's because, and sometimes it's due to their fault, and sometimes it's due to the fact that people just need help. There are a lot of people walking around who have not been diagnosed. And unfortunately, because they have not been diagnosed, they walk around with these behavior traits, and these behavior traits are detrimental to people. That sometimes people looking for the weakest person that they can take advantage. They're looking to prey, prey, on people and stuff. That's why you have to pay attention to your surroundings. You have to pay attention to where you go. You got to pay attention to the company that you keep, because trust and believe, everybody that you think you know who they are, you really don't know who they are. And sometimes when it pertains to people, especially women, you all are approached so often by so many men on a daily basis. I don't care what you look like or how you built. Women is always approached by so many men. And I know it can become very frustrating to where the point where you just want to say, leave me alone. I get that. But unfortunately, too many sisters out here and women are losing their lives because you have these weak men who don't know how to take no for an answer. And you can't judge them based on how they look. So you have to be a little bit smarter. You know, Tell them you got a boyfriend, tell them you got a husband. And if they still want to be persistent, just give them a number and block them. You know, Unfortunately, I have to say that because it's just it's just really it's really unbelievable and hurtful to see that a woman has lost her life because she didn't give somebody her number or she didn't want to be bothered. That to me is a it's just, I just can't believe it. I'm just lost for words, and I'm just saying, women, please be more cautious. There are too many weak men out here who can't handle rejection. They can't handle rejection because they never been taught how to handle their feelings All they know how to do is resort to anger and violence. Like Tupac said, do the job in silence. And unfortunately, in order for you to move on and live on, because many women, you all have kids, grandkids, and everybody who needs you, please, please, please don't look at a person and assume you know how they're going to respond. There's too many weak men out here in the world. So I just want to say, please be cautious about the people who approach you and everything, because you don't know if they have a weapon on them or what's going on inside of them mentally. And you cannot judge a book by its cover. So please protect yourself and give them the number, block them the next day. That's all I want to say about these weak men. And to the weak men out there, please get some help, because you got a death wish bothering other people's loved ones. So let me come back and do a recap. Yeah, so my summary of today is time is of the essence. Again, when it pertains to real estate, whenever you make an offer, just understand that the date that's stamped on the contract, you have a certain amount of time to get everything done, to get your earnest money deposit in, to get your home inspection done, to get your appraisal done, to get your financial done, like the loan commitment, and then to go into settlement. You have a certain amount of time. Please keep that in mind. And then I ended it on weak men. Ladies, so many weak men in the world. Protect yourself. They have anger issues. They lack self-control. You don't know if they have weapons on them. You don't know what's going on with them mentally. They're on drugs. Some people can't handle a beautiful woman because they never met or had one their entire life. So they feel like this is their only opportunity and you're their only opportunity. And when you reject them, they feel like they're never going to get another opportunity. So unfortunately, they have to, resort to the despicable act of violence. So to protect yourself, ladies, please, please, please say I'm married. And if they want to be disrespectful to your marriage and everything, give them a number and block them the next day, because your life matters more than a phone number. So please keep that in mind. Again, everyone, please follow me on all my social media platforms, on everything /Dame of the Agent. And remember, 3 weeks from tomorrow, I'm doing a home buyer seminar, which is going to be on April the 6th. I just posted it. If you want to register for my home buying seminar, please go to on my social media platform, click the link in the bio, the link tree. It's the Linktree link. The Linktree link will connect you. It'll be the first one on the top. Register. It's free. I just need registration because I need to know how many people are coming, so I know how much pizza and food to get for people. So again, I appreciate you all. I thank you. Follow me again on all social media platforms. And like I said, my stuff is going to start be between 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm not going to hold y'all long. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Have a great weekend. See you next week.